Welcome to Conversations on the Edge with Tom and TJ, where Generation X and Millennial talk about restoration, the Edge version 3, and the world.
Hi, everybody. This is a very special episode. I get to interview my mom, who is the most important person in my life and has been through thick and thin and ups and downs, as life goes. She has always been there for me, and I always have a blast talking to her. She just turned 97 years old and as sharp as a tack. And so the first part of the interview is with Mom. The second part of the interview is with Mom and her friend Marlys. And I affectionately call them the Mitten Ladies of Fargo, North Dakota. And the reason is because every year they knit or sew almost 200 mittens for underprivileged children. Because as you can imagine, Fargo gets really cold. And in North Dakota, South Dakota, everywhere up there, it gets really cold in the winter. And so these go out, these mittens that they sew go out to these children that don't have any mittens. And so if you can imagine that life. And so with that, first part is with my mom. The second part is with Mom and Marlys, the Mitten Ladies of Fargo, North Dakota. So enjoy. Thank you, everybody. Much love. Cheers. Our latest episode of Conversations on the Edge. And I am very excited today because I am here with my mom. And we are here. We are here in Fargo, North Dakota. And I'm honored here to be with one of my Uno mom. She's one of my favorite people on this planet. And I'm not trying to make you blush, Mom, but very excited because Mom also turned 97 in May. And so we're going to talk a little bit about life, about being 97. And then we're going to go and we're going to meet up with, because she's part of a group that is, I call them the Mitten Ladies of Fargo, North Dakota, because they knit mittens for needy children or children who don't have gloves or mittens. And it's cold here. And so
we sew mittens.
You sew mittens. And so it's fascinating. We're going to talk more about it. They're famous. They've been on TV, all this stuff. And so, and so we're going to have fun with that. We're going to go talk to Marlys here in a little bit. But I wanted to have a talk and introduce everybody to my mom. And so, Mom, we always start out in our episodes with something fun, exciting that's happening in your life. And so what's something fun that's going on? We're here on the 4th of July.
The 4th of July was fun because it was here with 6 of my children. Only one of them couldn't make it.
Yeah.
A lot of laughing.
Yeah.
And just a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a great weekend, and to see everybody. It always goes by so quickly. And, the weather cooperated. It was hot. It was hot, but we did all right. And the fireworks are unbelievable.
Yeah, I've seen it for several years.
Yeah.
And it's always, how do they manage to do all this?
Well, and it's mostly, they're not these are guys like me and like you that are lighting off their fireworks, and these are residents and homes, and it's quite amazing. If you've never been, it's a war zone. There's like fireworks going off everywhere, and the rumble is something that I've never heard before. And I've been in Florida, and we're pretty liberal with our fireworks in Florida, but here in Fargo, just so everybody knows, they're legal. Fargo, West Fargo, I should say. West Fargo, they're legal up until midnight on the 4th of July. And so, man, I got to tell you, as far as you could see last night in the panorama, and I took some videos, but I could not capture the whole thing. But it was unbelievable. And I've done my show, and this was like 1,000 of me of my my fireworks show going off at the same time, and it was just unbelievable and very exciting. It was my first time, and so you've seen many of them,
Yeah.
but man, I was just like, man, I died and went to North Dakota.
Tried to get you here for several years before you came.
Yeah, well, the 4th of July is always tough for me because we're traveling, in disaster recovery, the summertime, and when it's raining and all that, it's always hard for me to get away in the summertime, and so, but I'm very happy to be here now, and so my fun and exciting thing is I'm here for the first time, and so. Uh, and it was great. We had everybody here except for our brother Pat, and it was a great event and fun. But it's always too short. It's never long enough. You never quite get to see each other long enough to to really get down, talk to stuff,
To catch up.
to really catch up. They get tired of each other and then go home. And so that's the fun of it, though. We had a blast. So you just had your birthday in May, turned 97.
Yes.
And the amazing thing is mom is very, very, she's independent. She lives in a beautiful place here in West Fargo. We are in West Fargo, aren't we?
We're in Fargo.
We're in Fargo. And Fargo's not that big, but there is the people that live here, there's a difference between West Fargo and Fargo.
And Mandan.
And
Yeah, there's three.
yeah, and so, but it's a very vibrant area, a lot of stuff going on here. Everybody knows Fargo from the movie, but there's so much more to Fargo and everything that's going on here. It has everything. It's a great town. It just gets really, really cold in the winter, and I can do cold for a little bit, but not you know, 3, 4, 5 months of it. But it is beautiful up here this time of year. Everything is green, and so 97, Mom. How do if she's gets around well and she's independent senior living, and
When they ask me, I tell the people, we don't keep our secret of age very well. So if they ask, well, how did you come to be 97 and still do what I do? And I said, I grew up in a small farm in South Dakota, and I was one of the oldest children, and we were all girls for 5 of us, and so I got to help my father outside. And we had our own chickens, milk. My mom was a good baker.
Yeah.
Made her own bread.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just a healthy beginning.
Well, and you worked. You had to work.
Yeah. Well, and nobody really sat around.
Everybody had chores, something they had to do.
Unlike here, we have nothing to do.
Unlike now, yeah. But now you get to do whatever you want,
Sort of.
But you grew up in a time where, you as a child, you had to, contribute, and now we're kind of in a world where it's not really that way, and so and not only contribute, but you had to contribute because it was part of the lifestyle. You had to. Um, so tell us a little bit about that. About what was it like, Mom, when you know when you were a teenager, when you were in high school. We'll go to high school. What was it like then compared to now? Because you have seen a lot in 97 years. And we'll talk here in a little bit about all the things that are have happened in the last 100 years. But what was it like?
It's kind of funny even to talk about it because being one of the oldest in the family, my dad was the only driver. My mom learned to drive later. And so my dad would drive us to school, and we would have this. We'd always have to take our lunch. There was no hot lunch. And my mom was a friend of the storekeeper in town. And so they gave her this big box that could hold everybody's lunch. So somebody had to take it. And my sister Marlys was not going to do it. And so I had to be in charge of the lunchbox. So it was probably peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which kept, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was a lot different. With grade school in the bottom of the big building, high school was in the top part. It's no longer there in the little town, it's gone. But we had to walk home from school in the summertime. It was like a mile and a half. And once in a while we would run, well, one time we ran into a rattlesnake right in the middle of our road. And this old gentleman, we called him Amos Hupke. We ran him to his place. He was right on the road. He brought his shovel out and killed the snake. So we'd run into stuff like that.
Well, and you did have, you hear the stories about you had to walk, 2 miles in the snow, and you walked 2 miles in the snow.
We never did walk in the snow, but it's like if my older sister Mary Lou and I wanted to go to town just to visit with our friends for the afternoon, we had to walk there.
Yeah.
We had to walk there and walk back.
Yeah. Yeah. And was that on the outside? How far out of town was that?
Mile and a half. Yeah. On the gravel road.
Was that in Eagle Butte?
Can you go visit? Yeah. So that was mostly the school. But when the war was on, the really uppity girls in the small town didn't want to be cheerleaders. So two friends of mine and Myrtle and myself, we were cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Would you believe it? We had to make our own outfits because the hootie tootie ones couldn't get new uniforms, so they didn't want to be. Yeah.
The Hootie Tootie ones.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
We were kind of down there. Poor families,
Yeah.
They didn't have any more than we did.
Everybody was out up in the plains in South Dakota, and harsh winters, and
Well, and we had a drought, and like we have now. Everything with everything fell together. Depression and drought, and it was hard for everybody then.
Yeah, there's so much, that you have seen, Mom, and that's what amazes me. It's like the depression, and what you had to live through and survive and go through, and what was that like, for somebody who didn't, and and I haven't seen anything like that in my lifetime, and hopefully we never do again. But what was that like?
We didn't feel any different because everybody, it wasn't a real area where people were, a lot of the wealthy people.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the town people that own businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
But kind of everybody was in the same boat. So we felt normal.
It was the same.
Yeah, everybody the same. Our families were mostly a lot larger than the families are now. And I don't know, you just got together with the neighbors or friends and on weekends and or Sundays, and that was kind of what you did for fun.
It's just so different, think about it, Mom, and you went from that, to this, and and it just has to be. Sometimes you just gotta be. It just has to be like, like a kind of a wow, or does it ever really register like that to where you're just like,
No, it doesn't. We never wanted for anything
mhm.
because we lived on the farm. I think sometimes we were better off than some of the town people.
Yeah.
That their fathers didn't have government jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you just grow up doing whatever.
Well, there was more to where you had to do what you had to do for survival.
But I was glad to finally move to town
Mhm.
away from the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I did after I graduated.
Yeah. And then Dad was
1947.
1947. That was the beginning of the whole McGuire journey.
Yeah, when I moved there, yeah.
Yeah.
I met your father. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that whole journey with the bowling alleys and businesses and everything, and how we got here. It's always a journey. There's the journey of how it started and where we ended up here and now and then everything that has happened. The Great Depression and think about all those things. Mom, like the moon landing. The wars. It's like that you've seen happen and how they affect everyone and just let me look here on my list of things here, but just of course mobile phones and all that came around later, and the internet and polio vaccine, insulin, the transistor, um, just aerospace and everything that has happened in that area. And now we have AI and all of this stuff that's happening in our lives, and we still don't know what's going to happen there. That what effect. There's some really good effects, and there's some bad effects, kind of with everything, kind of that way. There's good and bad to everything. But what are some of the things that you see today that really stand out, that to you that are convenient and make,
Well, I think it started out, back when, I don't know, we didn't really have radio and TV and stuff like that too much until I was didn't really have TV until after Tom and I were married, and
it was 60s.
yeah, and we didn't have this little box and we all swung the TV.
I remember that we had the big black and white, which I said,
yeah, it was never colored.
Yeah, it was just a small 19-inch. By today's standards, that's like tiny. But then Dad came home with that. And this was probably 1974, 5.
The bigger one.
It was that little color TV.
Yeah.
Our first color TV, which was about this big.
A little bit bigger.
Well, it wasn't very big. And it sat on top of our other TV because it was color. And we actually had we had people over to watch the Super Bowl in color on this. Maybe it might have been a 9-inch screen. And so it was not very big, but we didn't know any better, and it was the best that we had, and so it is what it is, and when you don't know any better, and you're not wanting for things that you can't afford, it's perfectly fine. We lived with it. We watch football every Sunday on that little TV. And now, it would be something that might be, I think you got one on your counter over here that it's like a countertop TV that you might have in your kitchen or something,
Yeah.
to have on in the background.
Yeah, that they have nowadays.
Yeah.
Sitting there so they can watch TV while they.
But think about the advancements of the automobile, music, everything that, from phones to pretty much everything that we use today and that we take advantage of today, it came in, within the last 100 years. And it's just fascinating that you've been there.
Yeah, because I graduated in 1947 and went to Timberlake and worked for the county agent, who was on a group of people who got the REA, the first electric company, to go around to the farmers.
Yep.
And your dad had worked for a small hardware store, and he learned how to do electricity from a guy there. So he wired my mom's mom and dad. And so with the REA, they got to have electricity.
Wow. I think about that. I know for me, I'm thinking about it.
So that was one of the big things.
Was electricity?
Yeah, that was one of the big things that happened before the TV. Well,
I mean, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, for me, I've never lived without electricity.
Yeah. Or we didn't have a telephone either.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of people had telephones, but we did. Your grandpa and grandma McGuire had a telephone. Yeah.
Yeah, we know everybody.
Yeah, and now we have this thing we carry around in our pocket. And we don't have the dial phone anymore.
You don't have the dial. You don't have you don't have to call an operator and ask, can you connect me to
You know, so many things have changed that you kids never experienced.
Yes.
Because we always lived in town
Glad.
after we were, you know, after we had moved away from the farm.
Well, Mom, I have to, thank you, because, what you and Dad and what you've done throughout my life has been, to guide, guide me. And then you have, this, all the things that we take for granted now,
Yeah.
that.
Well, I take for granted too.
Well, that's true, and that's the beautiful thing is now now not only do you have electricity, but you have a beautiful place, and you can do whatever you want, and if you want to go someplace, you can go someplace. If you can call an Uber up and someone will come up and take you someplace, and if you want to get in a driverless car, you can do that too, and I mean all the things that that we just today I just think everybody kind of is a lot of people take for granted how good we really have it.
I live in independent living, our people, like myself, who came from way back there. Yeah. And once in a while, something will come up and we'll say, remember when? Because most of the people are 80, 80 something.
Well, I bet you there's some really interesting remember when stories.
You need to know what to bring up sometimes.
And what and what not to.
Well, yeah, and what not to. But the people are kind of where I live now in the independent living are kind of into themselves. They don't talk about themselves not much unless something comes up.
Well, you have all of these different lives, are now in one place. Everybody's got their story, and I think, it's important that, people talk to you about your story because, and anybody, that is you've been through your generation has been through so much, and you have such a great story to tell, and so that's really why I wanted to.
Because when you move here, you're just moving to, well, actually to everybody's life.
Yep.
Like nobody would know that I was kept books for a plumbing and heating business and then bowling lanes.
Mhm.
They look at me and I wear very plain clothes. A lot of our people here come dressed up like they were going to work.
Yeah.
They live that kind of a life. I didn't. And so I'm comfortable. And if they don't like the way I dress, that's okay too.
Mom, you're 97 years old. I don't like how you dress. It's their problem.
If I can wash it, I'd rather wear it.
Now, this picture behind us, um, tell us about that picture, Mom.
When my mom and dad were first married, they lived in this little house out in the prairie. My dad came to South Dakota because his older brother came. Well, first I have to say, their father always wanted their sons to have their own land. And back in Nebraska, there wasn't land. And so the railroad had bought this land going through Eagle Butte and they bought it way more land than they needed. And so they put it up for sale. And so my father was but his brother didn't want to stay. And they had built a new house, and my dad and my mom lived in this house, but then they wanted to go back to Nebraska, so then they moved into the new house that had been built. But this was their first house, and that's a picture of the house they lived in, just sitting out there, no fences, cows or anything grazing around them. And that was my sister, my older sister Myrtle, and I, and my mom and dad. And the picture that we're looking at was painted by my brother, my youngest brother, Donald. Yeah.
No, it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm looking, you know, and for those of you guys that don't know about winters in South Dakota, they are extremely cold and
And snowy.
and snowy and windy. And I'm looking, Mom, and I'm just thinking, wow, you know, because
How they survived.
yes,
Just sitting out there.
because now it's like, you know, everybody's getting their neighborhood, everybody's got their HOA, everybody's got all this stuff that, you know, and boom, you know, and I'm not sure that a lot of people that today's today could do that, and I'm just not sure that they could, and you know, just you know, thank you because this is, and I love coming back to South Dakota, North Dakota because I love it. The winters, you know, it's beautiful in the summertime, and the winters have been decent, like you know, recently, and
Yeah, we had a couple of nice winters.
yeah, it hasn't been
I haven't. I've been here 2 years, and it hasn't been a bad winter yet.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully
I
it'll
don't
be
know how many
three.
years it goes in the cycles.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's super El Nino year, so it's gonna be warm during the summer and rainy everywhere, and hopefully not a bad winter. So, but that I love that picture.
I was lucky to get that from my brother, and he gave it to me because I don't know. I was always close to him, and he was the baby of the family, so I was out of the house before. I don't think I ever took care of my younger brother because I was
Yeah.
already out of the house.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And and I still have Uncle Donald's because
You
just
took a
passed.
bunch of
He
pictures.
just passed, and I have a whole bunch of his stuff, and I'm going to create a. I've got an idea of, but I just that I'm going to put together. It's going to be a really cool uh, Don Becker display, and so.
And you got actual pictures.
But I think Dennis has the biggest Don Becker collection
Does
in
it?
his house. He proudly displays it. It's very exciting. And so, Mom, let's give Marlys a call and see if she's home. We're gonna go meet up with Marlys and see
If she's home.
if she's home. And so, yeah, we're very we planned this. This is pretty impromptu. And Mom, I just want to say thank you, you know, for coming. If there's anything else you want to throw in, well, that we want to
Well,
end with.
being the youngest one of the youngest of the family, you didn't live through any of it.
No.
No, I'm just lucky to be in good health. And who knows why, because I have, like everybody, I have something wrong.
Yeah.
And so I've had to be on a diet and met with a doctor that helped me out and was able to follow it. And so here I am.
In Crohn's, and before everybody knows now what Crohn's is, but they didn't, you know,
No.
40 years ago. They didn't know what Crohn's was, and they didn't. And tell us a little bit about what you had to do with that too, Mom. What was the
Well, you know,
journey that you did with that?
your brother Pap was in Omaha. I think it was Omaha, wasn't it? And he got hospitalized,
Or was
and
it Kansas City,
I was in Omaha or somewhere.
Denver?
We left Denver, and the doctors there, he got a tumor on, he had found out he had Crohn's.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got a tumor on it, and they discovered it's very painful. And so they discovered before it, it might have ruptured, but he got hospitalized, and they knew it was Crohn's. And through his going through that experience, my doctors knew nothing about Crohn's.
And not a clue.
Not a clue.
No.
I went to see a doctor, and I went with you. Was carrying a grocery bag for fear I was going to be ill. And it took a while to get a doctor because they wanted to put you on ugly medicine. Mostly that they were treating cancer for.
That might have done more harm than good in the long run.
It didn't do any good. But I was lucky to go to this doctor who listened. And now to what I said, and by then they knew it was Crohn because of my son. And so here I still am.
But you discovered the diet.
Yeah.
And kept yourself on the diet, and for the most part, you've had it under control, and you're 97, and you were what 50 when you first.
I was in my 50s. It was before your dad left.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in my 50s.
So you've lived, 40 years, with Crohn's, and again, it was the diet, and you get around. She was up with us till midnight last night, watching fireworks up and down
on two arms.
Well, with some assistance, but you didn't have to tell anybody that.
But it was daylight when I went up there, and it was a lot easier. But it was dark.
Well, it's dark. Things are different. Things are difficult.
Yeah.
But you're doing fantastic, Mom. And,
I asked the doctors if there's something different that I could get off of the diet. And they say, you don't know why you're still alive. So you don't know what to do with me.
Well, I can tell you, as we're sitting here today, every time I talk to my siblings, we're very, very thankful that you've been vigilant with your health. You're in a building here with people that are 20 years younger than you, that are not even can't even keep up with you, and very proud of you, and very happy that you are healthy. I'm hoping if I'm 97 years old, I health is everything, and so you got that's because if you're not healthy, then I wouldn't want to be if you're it's just life is difficult enough. So manage your health. You were awesome with it. You were before anybody was teaching about, before there was any food about Crohn's, before there was any gluten-free anything. You were discovering all of that, and you put yourself on a diet, and you've been by it, and yes, it's been difficult, but
it's less difficult now because of choices.
Very proud of you, though, Mom. You've
Well,
done
thank
well.
you.
Done well.
Proud of you too.
Well, I'm a work in progress. And so,
But you never give up.
No.
You could get down, but you're not one to give up. You're gonna
no,
find a way around it always.
well, you have to. There is no choice. There's no choice. You have to figure out the answers, and you have to be willing to ask, and but you have to be willing to do what is required. And so, thank you. We want to call Marlys. Marlys.
Why don't we go down and talk to her and see?
Okay.
I'll call and see if she's home.
Okay. All right, everybody. We're gonna do part 2 here in a second.
They want to talk about my projects here in this Edgewood.
And so we're gonna talk about what these young ladies have been doing to help out to the public. They are public. They are celebrities. Been on the news and stuff, and so we're gonna talk about that next.
Coming in. I thought you were going to come to me, but he's bringing it to you.
Hey, well, it's good to see you again.
Started up there and we're marching down.
So what we wanted to do, and
Just close the door.
we're going to talk mittens.
You remember Tom?
Yes.
So we're going to talk mittens with the Mitten Ladies of Fargo. Well, all right. So everybody, this is Marlys and my mom. I call them the Mitten Ladies of Fargo. I'm very honored to be here with you guys because I love what you do. This is a great story. You've been on TV. You've been on. You're famous.
Says we're famous.
You're famous. And so we're going to have some fun. And I'm just going to ask some questions about what you're doing. And what we always do, and did this with Mom earlier. So tell us something exciting that's happening in your world right now. Maybe not mittens, but something that's going on that you want to
You need
share.
to tell them how we got started.
Okay, well, I can tell. Well, first of all, one whole winter I spent trying to find patterns to make mittens because first I tried to make them out of sweaters and that didn't work very well. And I finally found this pattern on YouTube, and I kind of fashioned it to be more what I wanted, added a little bit more and took a little bit off. But this is our 3rd year of doing this here.
Yeah.
And the first year, I think we did over 200 pair of mittens. And last year we did 209 pair of mittens. And this year we're doing 190, aren't we?
Yes, I think somewhere like that. Because we ran out of material.
Yeah. Well, we used to get our material at Joann's and we could get real good sales on material. And so it wasn't so hard on my pocketbook. But then Joann's closed and then it was really tough to get fleece that was appropriate for kids.
Yeah.
For little kids, little boys and little girls, because we make our mittens for kids that are in kindergarten through 4th grade.
Okay.
So, and for underprivileged kids from low-income families, and we give them to the schools because the teachers know who these kids are and who needs them, and so we've been doing that. But now we've given to quite a few schools. So I don't know who we're going to give them to this year yet. There have been some suggestions, and so we'll see.
You may have to make some calls.
Well, people have been asking, like, for homeless families. We can certainly give them to homeless families.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I say, they're just for little kids. So.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about what you guys are doing. I mean, it serves such a unique purpose, and just talking with Mom about the progression. You know, she's 97 and everything that she's seen in her life in those 97 years. And a lot of these things that we're taking for granted today, you know, and one of them is, you know, just the basic stuff, you know, that a lot of people don't have. And you guys are, when we're talking mittens, they are making them. And so they're with their own hands, and you started in April?
And that's, how did I even get to talking about you? And you talked like you needed somebody that could sew. I don't even know why I was talking to you, Marlys.
Oh, we were just visiting and stuff, and we just got into things, and you said that you sewed, and so I said, well, you know, maybe we could make.
And then,
So this is the third year that you've
This
worked
is the
here?
third year, and she has sold so many mittens.
I've only sold 60 and she's sold the rest practically. I think one other lady sold 20 some,
Janet sold around 20.
but
Yeah.
she does quilting too, so.
Yeah, a lot of the ladies will do quilting like for churches and things, but I don't know. I've been trying to get people to sew. I don't know, just act like they forgot now.
Well, and that, you know, and that's kind of a sad thing too, when you think about, you know, where we are right now, and you know, some of the, you know, some things are just, are younger people learning to sew, or is it, you know?
Well, yeah, young people do not know how to sew.
Yeah.
Since they quit giving home ec in high school, you know, these girls, they can't even sew a seam. I mean, they can't hem a skirt or a pants or something like that. It's really, they don't know how to run a sewing machine. I can't believe it.
Wow.
They didn't grow up like we did.
No.
Well, I mean, in a world where you if you didn't have it, you made it. You know, if you couldn't afford to buy it, you.
Well, and then of course we were born at the end of the Depression, and so the Depression was still with us for quite a few years. So you know, we couldn't afford things, so we had to make do with what we had.
That's what I told Tom. I says, we on the farm were probably better off than people in town because we had everything we needed except sugar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they had commodities, so but we learned to sew.
Well, and look what you're doing now. You know, you are. I mean, these are really cool. I think
she's making the smaller ones.
I need a pair of these. But they're it's just fantastic, and I love the story and what you're doing, and you were on the news. They did come out and do a story on you guys, and that was fun. I got to see this stuff and see the clip.
Well, you know, I've been thinking that you know, there's a place in town, New Life Center, and that's for homeless men. And I have worked up the big patterns for adults too. And I thought, well, when we quit making mittens for kids, maybe we could just make a few for the New Life Center, because I think they would really be nice. They're thick. I mean, this is just lining. This is just the outside.
Yeah.
You know, we have to put the lining on the inside of it, and then it gets to be a pretty good mitten.
Yeah.
Gets nice and thick and.
Yeah, I've seen the first year. It must have been the first year that I was here. I think that's when we were here.
You got your.
Yeah, this thing is.
We decided we can't wear that.
No.
When we do mittens, because you can't get inside the mitten.
You can't get them on. But you see, now that gets to be a nice thick mitten with the lining.
Yeah.
She's doing the small, and when she gets through, some of the other ones are gonna start disappearing too.
Well, when did you guys start this year? You started earlier.
Yeah, well,
April. So April.
When did we, I think we
Yeah,
started sewing in April, didn't we?
Yeah, it's been over a month, I think.
Yeah.
Because I had them in my room for a while before
Yeah,
I did anything, but
I think we started not much after the first of the year of cutting them and, you know,
and we couldn't even find people who wanted, the cutters were okay.
yeah, that we had cutters, but
They
couldn't
didn't
find
want,
pinners.
didn't want to pin them.
Because we had to make them in the kits. My bathtub,
Yeah, I showed them the kit.
my bathtub's full of mittens.
When we're off here, you'll have to show them your bathtub.
And then when they're done, then we have 2 baskets in here, 2 totes in here, one for the small ones and one for the medium-sized ones.
Well, there are some probably, what they call it, when, for the mothers with children that have to go somewhere to get away from a bad situation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it's called here. I know they have in Arizona because my son donates there.
Carla, the gal here that she's kind of one of the top dogs here. Anyway, she talked about that they have people in their church that they homeless people that they give to. So that's where Carol gave her mittens last year, was to her church. So
Wow.
so there's lots of places we can give them to, I'm sure.
Well, I love it. Well, and because she needs projects, and so
Yeah, I always need a project. Well, she's got lots of projects like that.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, she does beautiful stuff, and little teeny stuff, and I don't know how she does it.
Yeah.
Well, it's really exciting, and I'm honored and I'm very proud of you both, and it's super cool, and more people need to actually do what you do, in whatever, in different areas. So if you're listening and just, give back, and life is about giving back, not always taking. And there's a lot of taking goes on in our world today. And we take a lot of things for granted. And one of them is, staying warm in the winter.
Marlys worked with school children, so she saw it herself.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember we're teaching, is that you have to send them out to play at recess because little kids, they have so much pent up energy. They need to run and holler and get rid of some of that so they can sit still in the classroom. And the little girls or some of the little boys too, they would go, oh, they're cold. Then I'd say, well, stick your hands in your pockets. Well,
Well,
that's not they can't do anything with their hands in their pockets.
They're running, smash their nose. I put my hands in a pocket once and I tell them.
Yeah, I remember you had us. We were ready for sub-zero weather when we came out. We had the string behind it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That went through, that connected to our mittens so that we wouldn't lose them.
Yeah.
And we decided we couldn't do that because of the danger.
Yeah, they could hang themselves.
Well, now.
So we couldn't do that with our
Yeah.
mittens. We talked about it.
And now, but that's what back then.
Yeah.
We lived in danger back then with our mittens.
Well, you didn't lose them.
Well, in a
Did not
family,
lose
you
them.
could do it too, but you
Yeah.
can't here and then give them
Yeah.
away.
But it's I wish more people were doing what you guys are doing, and it's fun, to see it. And
Well, thank you, but we were just doing it to keep busy and help.
One thing, you gotta have hobbies when you get old. You gotta have things to do. I mean, some people here don't do anything but play cards and
Bingo.
bingo. Yeah.
yeah,
How satisfying is that?
thank God every day, that mom is as active as she is and healthy,
Yeah.
and being able to live out her life the way that she wants to,
Yeah.
and do the things she wants to do, and it is so important. And in health, is part of that, and you just got to keep an eye on everything, and because you never know, you might be.
But she has diabetes, and so she has a problem also.
Yeah.
We have to watch our food and stuff, but
Okay.
we're keeping busy.
You keep an eye on each other. That's good.
So here we are with Marlys. Yeah.
Here we are, and thank you for letting us barge in here unannounced.
She's walking down the hall. Diane was just setting up for, what do you call it, dominoes?
Oh, dominoes, they play
Yes.
dominoes.
She was just getting out there ready to sit for dominoes.
It's stressful being self-employed, and where you're responsible for everything, and so with that stress, I don't know that I'm going to make it to 97, Mom, but it's been good. It's been a good life, no matter what, and so that's the way you got to look at it. And we're here for the 4th of July, with the family, and
I had 6 of them here.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It started out with one son coming in, and Tom has a lady friend who's going through a difficult time, and he needed to get away. So he said, I'm coming too.
Well, once Andy was coming, I was like, Andy's going to be there, because I think we talked about it at one time, and I forgot about it, because Donna has been dealing with cancer and everything, so we've been really focused, on the last few months on that, and so I needed it to see family, and so it was perfect. We didn't have our brother Pat here, but
His
it was
other
good.
brother drove in from Chicago area in his wife.
Yeah, it was a quick trip. We got here on Friday, leave tomorrow, and so and then I had this idea, because I have a podcast that I do, and that's what this is, and I was like, well, I'm gonna talk to Mom and Marlys about mittens, and so because
He was resisting. Yeah.
She didn't resist.
You were a good sport.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, and
We have another lady that does hats.
Yeah.
And she's done a few hats. She's gonna donate towards our bucket of stuff.
well, it's you're not done yet. You're not done. Who knows what this could evolve into? It's only 3 years.
I said, well, I'm 3 years older than when I started.
Well, it was really good last year. Last year it cost us a lot of money. And so then they did have a fundraiser for us.
Good.
And we got $500, which I think paid for everything except $50.
Wow.
So, and then also I get a grant from Thrivent.
Yeah.
Every year, well, no, I didn't the first year. I just had to pay for that. But otherwise, it probably doesn't cost me any more than $150. And we can make 200 mittens. I thought that first year
you got the word out.
200 cost me
they're
$150. So I thought that's pretty good. Getting that's not much to invest into something that.
So worth
that. Yeah, because they say that at crap sales, these mittens are worth $20 a pair.
Yeah.
And then we made like 200 pair.
Oh, I believe it. And they're high quality, and they're handmade. And so you need to get like a little tag that you put in.
Yeah.
Mitten Ladies.
One year I when I made the mittens, I put a little tag in there that says God loves you.
We have gotten thank you letters from.
Oh yeah, well, we've gotten thank you letters from the schools and pictures of the kids with their mittens on, and
Wow.
it's kind of exciting.
Well, congratulations. And thank
And
you.
of course, one year we were in the paper, and we were.
I don't know.
TV.
Yeah, they did a video of us.
Yeah.
I guess it was unusual because
I've seen you guys on TV.
that they didn't do it last year. No, we were just sort of on our own.
Yeah.
But we had about 7 people in there because we went down to the boardroom and set up and
Yeah, we had kind of workshops,
yeah.
and then everybody helped. And I thought maybe it would work better if we didn't, if we just because, but it didn't work very good this year because we wound up doing it mostly ourselves.
We did most of it ourselves.
Yeah. But maybe the people are getting sick of mittens.
It's just, well, the ones that we didn't do the workshop because we needed to be particular about how they were cut because sometimes it was kind of a challenge to find a thumb right. See, these thumbs, you have to cut according to the pattern, and sometimes they didn't stay to the pattern.
Yeah, so they were offset.
Yeah,
because these are perfect.
Okay, you can shut us down.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And thank you guys. It is my pleasure. And we will talk to you soon. Love you much. Cheers.
Yeah.
You did shut it.
Thanks for listening to Conversations on the Edge with Tom and TJ. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if you like what you hear, leave us a review. Join us next time for another Conversation on the Edge.